All right, now we're getting to the good stuff. In this section, you're going to learn all about how to actually create in Prezi. I'll show you guys a completed project and we're actually going to work towards it together. So we're going to create that project together. But before we jump into actual creation, I think it'll be useful for you to watch a quick video on why Prezi actually works. So take a minute to watch this quick video and then we'll circle back around, we'll jump right back here and we'll start creating. Let's talk a bit about Prezi. We've heard from customers that Prezi is better than traditional presentation methods in big ways. Crunch Fitness showed a 30% increase in sales when it switched to Prezi in its sales pitches. Fujitsu acquired far more leads than previous years when it switched to Prezi. But everybody has stats. What they don't have is backing from Harvard. According to their double-blind study, Prezi presentations are ultimately more effective than PowerPoint slides. It was specifically Prezi's use of movement that captivated audiences. It was shown to be 25% more effective. Imagine delivering a presentation that's proven to be 16.4% more engaging and about 22% more persuasive. The reality is that we simply recall things better when we picture them. Take household appliances, for example. Can you think of what's in your kitchen? You probably imagined your kitchen rather than a bulleted list of items. The brain works better in pictures. So now that we know a little bit about why Prezi works, let's take this information and apply it to Prezi Video. So now that you understand how and why Prezi works, let's introduce you to the project we're actually going to be working on. Today, we're going to be working on a project called Expert Cars. And here you have it. Here's the content as our customers would actually use it for their own purposes, whether they're going to make a video recording or go live with their content in a video conferencing platform. This is what it might look like. So we're going to be working toward this project in this particular training here. So as you can see, I could zoom into a number of these topics here. So I'll kind of click through to give you an example of what it's going to look like. So here we've got our first topic. I could continue to go through here. We've got subtopics. We've got another subtopic here with latest trends. So we're going to be building all of this together. So coming back out, we've got some zoom areas here. You can see that it's navigating around to different sections as I go through. And then I'll come back out to my overview, back out to my main topic here, and then I'll come back out to my overview. I could click through, I could jump straight to stats and figures, for example. I can navigate around, I could click on one of these different topics here, zoom in, I've got some content. I don't have to zoom in, it's up to me. But this is the project that we're gonna build together. So as soon as you're ready, head on over to the next section and we'll start building out this particular Prezi template. Here we've got our Prezi dashboard, so this will be the landing page when you go to prezi.com. Make sure you go to the videos tab here, and this is what it'll look like. I don't currently have any recorded videos, that's just fine. Quick overview of the buttons. You've got, once again, that create new video to open up what we internally refer to as our light create editor. When it comes to creating projects for clients, for the most part, you're going to be operating here in this advanced create button. Okay, so one last thing, if you wanted to ever look for help or search our knowledge base for anything, you can come right up here to this help button, and we've got all kinds of topics, articles, videos, all kinds of things that might help you create your content. So for now, in this training, we're gonna go right here into Advanced Create. Here's a little helper window letting you know what Advanced Create is. Just basically letting you know you can add images and text and fully customize your presentation. So you'll scroll down every time and you will click Create Now. It's going to open up the template chooser here. You can see that we've already got a bunch of Prezi video optimized templates here. Sure, you could choose one of these, and sure, your clients could also choose one of these. But we aspire to create custom templates that should be better suited for the client than any one of these. So I never expect you to go to one of these and then start editing it. You guys are designers. I fully expect you to just go ahead and come right here to a blank template and choose the blank video template here. So if you click on this, it's gonna give you a little preview. You can preview it if you want. There's not much to it. There's nothing here because it's a blank template. And just go ahead and click use this template. Once you do that, it's going to open up right here into the Prezi editor. And this here, if you're familiar with Prezi Next, you may or may not be. This is just the regular Prezi editor. So let's do a quick walkthrough of some of the buttons here and some of the functions of the editor. Okay, so you'll notice that right off the bat, this tab here is open, letting you know that you are creating for video. Now, one thing that might be useful for you when you're creating your content is to allow the camera. If I click the allow camera button here, it'll put me on screen. Now I'm on screen, and when I'm creating my content, I will know exactly where I am relative to my content. This may or may not be useful for you. You can also always freeze yourself. So for example, I'm now frozen, and what I can do is I can start to build my content around around the fact that I am here on screen. Now, I don't like to stare at myself while I'm creating content, so I'll probably end up turning this off. We'll end up creating with an actual background in place. Okay, so I'll turn this off. And now let's walk through some of these buttons here. What I might want to do is go ahead and name this presentation. So we'll just call it something like 99designs. There we go. And I'll just click OK. Actually, you know what might make more sense is let's just name it what we're going to be building today, Expert Cars. And that'll make more sense in just a second. So I'll click OK. Quick walkthrough of the buttons. The style button here acts sort of as your master editor for the entire presentation. So if you want to apply colors to your entire template, or shapes to your entire template, or text to your entire template, a certain font, you do it here through the style button. This is also how we'll be adding our background. Here we've got the insert button letting you know that this is exactly where you'll be inserting anything into your presentation. So whether it's text or image or a new topic, a shape, arrows, animations, whatever you might be adding into your presentation, you're going to be doing it right here through the insert button. The share button will be a little bit less relevant for this particular training, but this is how you would actually present the presentation as a non-video presentation. You would just share it as a Prezi Next here if you wanted to. And if you're ready to record, you can click Prezi Video here, which will just open up the sidebar, and then you can go and record a video or bring your content live on screen with you in a video conference. So to finish up walking through the editor here, we've got this sidebar on this side, which will show you your topics in the sidebar level here. So if I click to add another topic, you'll see that I've now got 2 topics here, which I could then rearrange if I wanted to. I'm going to end up clearing everything off once we actually start creating. But for now, this should be a pretty decent overview of, or should give you a pretty good understanding of what actually takes place in the editor and how to kind of navigate around it. So nothing too bizarre here. You can always close out your sidebar on the side, which I recommend doing if you're not using it, just to give yourself a little bit more space here. One thing to note is that the canvas right here represents the edge of your screen that will be shown when presenting. So anything that goes beyond it will not be shown. Anything that's inside of it will be on screen. So now that we have walked through the actual editor, I think it's time that we can start creating content. But before we create content, I want to show you exactly what we'll be using as our example today. So we're going to be pretending that our client gave us a PowerPoint presentation and basically told us, let's go ahead and turn this PowerPoint into a Prezi. So we're going to take their PowerPoint and we're going to turn that PowerPoint into a Prezi video. So here we've got the PowerPoint provided to us by our client. So they've already got their branding, they've got their colors here, everything that they want is featured within this PowerPoint. So I can kind of click through it and see, okay, get an idea of kind of what they're wanting here. They've got some pictures, they've got some content. I could continue to click through. What I've done, I've already clicked through this, and what I've done is I've taken this PowerPoint and I've converted it into a mind map. So what I recommend doing, if somebody gives you a PowerPoint, is to deconstruct the PowerPoint into content and then reconstruct that into a Prezi. You will never be using the import from PowerPoint function. So now that I've got an idea of what my PowerPoint looks like, I could continue to click through if I want to, but I've got a pretty good understanding. What I've done is I've actually split up the slides and turned it into what's called a mind map. So mind maps are very useful for Prezi. We're going to get into that a little bit later in training, in the third training when we talk about structure. But here you could see that I've taken all of my slides and I've organized it in a way that makes sense for Prezi. So I've got my overview here. So this is what I'm going to kind of turn into my Prezi overview. Here I've got my 4 topics that I'm going to be creating. So I've got my topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, topic 4, and then I've got it broken down into the content that will be inside each of these topics. So now that I've got a pretty good understanding of where I'm going to go with this presentation, I can start to actually build out my content. Okay, so let's head over to our Prezi template that we're working on. We've got our expert cars here, and let's start to add some content. The very first thing I'm going to do for this particular presentation is I'm going to add a color palette. That way, as I build out my presentation, everything I do, I can immediately apply my colors to it. Now I've got some colors here that I'm going to add into my color palette. I'll bring it on screen real quick just to show you what I'll be working with. So I've got my 5 hex codes here. I'm going to move these off screen, and then I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste each of these in to my color palette. So I'm moving this off screen, but for you guys, right here, I'm going to come up to the Style button, and this is where you'll add a color palette. And I'm going to come over here to the 3 little dots next to Colors. Now, I've already got one called Expert, of course, because I've done this before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create new. And we'll call this one Expert Cars. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my 5 colors to these 5 sections here. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to my background color. I'm actually going to make this white, which it already happens to be perfectly white. For color 2, I'm going to make it a different color. So I'm going to click on the little box right here, and I'm just going to copy and paste my own hex code right into it. You will usually get some assets here, some branding assets from your client. They'll probably give you the information, the hex codes or something like that. If you only had a logo, a shortcut would be to drop your logo right here into the presentation and use the little eyedropper tool. I happen to have the hex code, so I'm going to go ahead and just keep copying and pasting these. And now I'm just going to add in white for the primary text color, and I'm going to keep that charcoal gray for the secondary text color. And there we go. So now I've got my colors, and now my palette is ready to go for the presentation. So I'll go ahead and save this. You can see I'm going to save it as Expert Cars. And what I'm also going to do while I'm here, I'm going to go back into the little editor here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set my text styles real quick. It's a little bit different. I'm going to create new, and now what I'm going to do is I'll name this one Expert Cars as well. So that way I've got my text and my color set for my entire presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Railway as my font for everything. And there we go. And now I'm just going to go ahead and save it. Okay, so now I've got my font applied to the presentation, and I've also got my color palette saved for the entire presentation. So I could go ahead and close out of this little sidebar here. And now we can start adding some content. So right off the bat, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear everything off here, and we're going to start with literally nothing on the actual canvas. So I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to click and drag and select everything. Alternatively, what I can do is I can hit Control A on my Windows PC or Command A on my Mac, and just go ahead and select all at once, and then I will delete everything. So now I've got nothing on screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my background. Now, keep in mind, when somebody is on Prezi Video, either recording or going live with it, the background will not be seen. However, they can change their view and make the background be seen. So it's important to keep in mind what the background actually is for the presentation, but also keep in mind that the background will be dropped when the person's on video. So let's add our background in for structure purposes. And I'm going to come up here to the Style button, and I'm going to click the 3 little dots next to Background. Okay, so here are my options. I can upload something from the gallery. I'm just going to go ahead and upload something from my computer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and choose my background here. I've got it somewhere in my pictures, and here's my background picture. So as soon as I click open, it's just going to apply it to the presentation. So here's my nice light gray background. There we go. Now that my background is on, I can close out of my sidebars here, and I got a good understanding of what my presentation looks like. So here's my background, and now I'm just going to do a couple more steps in this particular section before we move on to adding topics. So I'm going to kind of set my foundation here. I'm going to add my logo and sort of put in things like that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add my logo. Now I have a number of ways I can add photos to a presentation. You've already seen me use the Insert button, so maybe I'll do that again. I'll come up here to the Insert button. I'll go ahead and come over here to Insert Image. And now what I'll do is I'll upload image, and I'll choose one from my actual folder here. So I'm going to come over here, and I've got one for our logo, which I can come right here to Logos. And I'll just bring in my actual logo here. So if I click on, whoops, that's the PDF. What I'll do is instead, I'll show you the easier way. So I could insert a PDF as well, and I could come right here to my logo. Give me just a second here. It's important to, I would normally cut this out, but you know what? It's important to know that if you're inserting a PDF, you have to click Insert PDF, and if you're inserting a photo, you have to click Insert Photo. Our logo happens to be a PDF photo, so I would come up to Insert Photo. Now that's one way to insert a graphic into Prezi. Another way is that you can just drag and drop it. So if I come up here to my folder here that I've got, right, I can easily just instead, I could come over here to my folder here, just my regular computer, I could come over here to pictures, and I can just drag and drop. So in this case, I'm gonna just drag this picture right in here, and we're gonna use this as part of our logo. Now this is a PDF, which means obviously I made this in, or someone on our team made this in Photoshop, so I'm gonna kind of clear out my sidebar here. And I could kind of put this somewhere that makes sense, you know, kind of get it in line with the background here. Now, this is not a transparent shape. You could see that as I move it around, it's actually got its own graphic here. It does not need to be perfect. It can have kind of a little bit of a parallax effect here. So I'll get it somewhat in place that makes sense. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tint it. So you saw that we added our color presets, right? We've got our palette, our color palette. So I'm gonna select my oval here. I'm gonna come up to my style presets, and I'm gonna make it one of our colors here. I'm gonna make it this green. That might be a little bit dark. I could change how opaque it is, so I could change that transparency if I want, make it more or less green, but I'll just go ahead and drop it right about here, okay? So now, to finish out the logo, I'm gonna bring in one of our other graphics here. So if I come over here to my shapes here, I've got, whoops, not in shapes, I've got it in pictures here. Nope, I've got it in logos. Right here, nope, I've got it in logos. There we go. I'm gonna bring in this other little graphic here, and let's go ahead and drop it right in here somewhere. And right about there makes sense. If I need to, I can always refer to my mind map, which I'll do before I start adding topics in. And let's just drag this into a spot that makes sense, maybe right about here or so. And there we go. So we've pretty much got our title page ready. We've got our logo over here, or our graphic over here, and we've got our logo on this side. I'm gonna do one last thing. If you remember from our introduction where I walked you through the completed project, we also have a title right here that says project or product demo. So I'm gonna come up to the insert button, and I'm just gonna insert a text box. It's gonna be white by default because that's what we set as the color. And I'm just gonna type into this text box, product demo. Okay, and now I'm gonna kind of shrink this down a little bit, right about there, and I'm actually gonna make it bold. Okay, so now that I've got my product demo here, I've got everything ready to go, and I am now ready to start adding topics. So let's go ahead and move along to the next section and start adding some topics to this presentation. Now that we're ready to add topics, what I'd like to do is remind you what the presentation looks like that we're working toward. So I've got it open here on this tab, and this is what we're going to be creating. Once again, we've got our 4 main topics here with these unique shapes. So what I'm going to do is quickly show you what these topics look like. So we've got 2 planet topics and 2 stack topics. The difference between a planet topic and a stack topic is kind of how they actually behave. So we would use planet topics when we want to dive in to a further level and show subtopics. So if we're going to be adding different subtopics for a topic, then we're going to want to go ahead and use a planet topic. If we want our story to unfold in sort of a linear way, then we would use what's called a stack topic. So we'll explain that a little bit more later when we talk about structure. But this one here is a planet topic. When I zoom in, you could see I've got additional subtopics here. I could go in a further level or a further layer. Okay, if I zoom back out, if I zoom into this stack topic here, you could see that I've actually got nowhere else to go in terms of diving into a further subtopic, and instead, my story starts to stretch out almost horizontally. I'm able to click through the additional pages within this stack topic, but I'm not diving deeper into a further level. Okay, so now that we've seen what we're working towards yet again with these unique topic cover shapes, let's go ahead and switch back to our presentation over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and throw on my 4 topics. That way it's kind of ready to go. I can start adjusting then. So I know that I have 2 planet topics and 2 stack topics. So I'm gonna come up here, I'm gonna insert a planet topic, okay? And then I'm gonna insert a stack topic. I'm gonna insert another stack topic, and then I'm gonna insert another planet topic. So now that I've got my 4 topics here, I can start to kind of just align them in place over here. So I can start, if I wanted to, I could even set them all kind of together here and resize them together. I'm going to be putting them all along the bottom, as we already know. So if I hold Shift and I select my 4 topics, I can just resize them all together. Let's make them all reasonably sized here. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag them into place. So now I'll move my 4th one over, my 3rd one over, and my 2nd one over. I'm going to make my logo a little bit smaller here so I have a little bit more room to operate. There we go. It's just something like that. Now, I've got my 4 topics. These are in no sort of alignment. What I might want to do is hold Shift, and I'm just going to select all 4 of these guys. Now that they're all selected, I'm going to come up to my Align button, and I'm going to center them right in the middle. I already know they're the same size. I'll center them right through the middle here. I'm going to kind of move them all over a little bit, and maybe even down a little bit. So I've got my 4 topics, and what I'm going to do now is I'm also going to distribute them horizontally so they're equal distance apart. So I'm going to come up to my Align button while they're all still selected, come up to Align, and I'm going to distribute horizontally. Now they're all equal distance apart, and I could start to kind of fill out my content a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and type into these boxes here, and I'm going to rename each of these topics. Okay, so give me just a second here. I'm going to click in the box, and now if I double click on this text box here, I can start typing it in. So I'll type in management platform issues, and I am hitting enter after each word because I know that I want to have each word on its own line. So now I can drag it out by the side anchor here and kind of place it right in the middle of this circle. Now obviously we already know that I'm not going to have circles by the end of this, so I don't even really have to organize it, but for the sake of sort of just keeping it all clean, I'll go ahead and keep it organized and put my text in the middle here. So improving user experience. There we go. Now that we've named all of our topics, I could go ahead and make my text white for all of them. So I'll select the text here. I'll come up to the color and I will make it white. I'll do the same for my first topic over here. There we go. And now my topics are all sort of standardized. They're all uniform. And I could go in and change that topic shape in just a second. So first up, what I'd like to do next is I would like to add my subtopics. So just kind of get it ready. I kind of just want to build my skeleton here for my presentation. So what I'm going to do is I know that my management platform issues has 2 subtopics on the inside, right? We remember that from not only from our mind map, but also from previewing that other presentation. So if I come back here to my mind map, you could see management platform issues has 1, 2 subtopics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom into this topic. I'm just going to scroll up on with my mouse wheel, or I can double click it, and I'm going to add on my 2 subtopics. I happen to remember that one of them is a planet and one of them is a stack. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 planet and 1 stack. Okay, so there we go. And I can name these now. So this one is going to be called latest trends, and then this one over here will be called top carrier issues. Okay, so I can go ahead and make this one white, and I can move it to the middle, which again, I'm going to be changing these shapes anyway. Whoops, did not mean to do that. Make it white here, and this one I'm just going to go ahead and drop the text right into the middle. So I can grab these guys, I can hold shift and select them both and kind of move them into place where I know they're going to be later. There we go. And I can go ahead and scroll back out. And what I might want to do is jump into my stats and figures here, and I know that I'm going to have 3 planet topics. So I could go ahead and just click the default add subtopic button. It's going to default to a planet. 1, 2, 3. And I've got my 3 topics. So I could go ahead and put these a little bit more vertically, because I know for these I'm going to be arranging them in a structure just like this. And I could put this one into alignment with the top one. You can see if I click and drag, it's actually bringing up red lines, letting me know that I am in perfect alignment with my top topic up there. And if I grab all 3 now by holding shift, I can distribute them vertically and put them all equal distance apart. So there we go. And I could even move them around a little bit to put it in better alignment with that circle. But I'm going to be moving it all around in a bit anyway, so it's not hugely important. So now that we've added our topics and our subtopics, what I'd like to do is just clear out all the content. So I'm going to zoom into each of these. I'm going to hold shift, and I'm just going to clear all of this off. So I'm going to delete all of my placeholder content, because we're going to do it all from scratch. So there we go. Make sure that there's there's some placeholder content on the inside. We're going to clear all that out too. And we're just going to do this for each of the topics now and each of the subtopics. So delete. And there we go. Now that we've cleared out all of our filler content, all of our placeholder content, we are ready to start adding our own content. So let's go ahead and move on to the next section where we actually add in some content. Before adding our content in, it might be useful to go ahead and change our topic shapes now. And we're going to be doing that by what's called advanced topic editing. Now, advanced topic editing is the most important thing that you'll be doing in Prezi when you're designing an actual presentation. So what advanced topic editing is it allows you to edit the cover of your topic. So a topic cover is kind of like your book cover. So here you can see I've got this green shape and I've got this text for my topic cover here. When I zoom in, I open up my book and I've got content on the inside. Now I currently have this shape set to be visible both on the outside topic cover and inside the topic. So here you can see it still here. I can change that setting. In advanced topic editing, which you access by right-clicking and going to advanced topic editing on any topic or subtopic, it allows you to select and edit each individual element of this topic cover. So I can delete the shape, for example. I can delete the text if I want to. If I delete the shape, you'll notice I can zoom into this topic now, and all I've got left is nothing. I've got nothing on the inside because I removed it. That's up to me. I can undo that if I want to. I could bring it back. It's also really useful for if you want to create a hidden or an invisible topic. So if I go into advanced topic editing for this topic, right-click, advanced topic editing, I can actually clear off everything. I can clear off the text, I can clear off the shape, and now my topic is still here. However, it's invisible from the outside. This is very useful depending on the story that you're trying to tell. Sometimes you just want to have a hidden topic. I could still zoom into it. It's still there. I've still got my subtopics. I could still even have content here if I wanted to. So I'm going to bring back my shape. So let's undo and undo. And let's go ahead and add our own shape into these topic covers. So you remember we're going to be having these ovals over here. So this kind of oval that we made in Photoshop. So we've saved it as a PDF. So that means we're going to be importing a PDF graphic to be our topic cover. Okay. So let's go ahead and right click on this particular topic and go into advanced topic editing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete this shape because I know I'm going to be adding a new shape. So while I am in advanced topic editing mode for this photo, anything I insert in through the insert button is going to insert it into the actual topic cover. It's not just placing it on top, it's becoming the topic cover. So if I come up to insert PDF, I can go ahead and come over here to my assets over here, and I can come to, I believe it's a shape, and I can insert my topic shape. So I'm going to click open, and it's going to insert it right into this topic. So you can see that it's really small right now. No problem. I'll just go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. Just right about there. Now, I'm going to change the color of it. So I'm still in advanced topic editing for this topic, and I've got the shape selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and come up here to my style presets, and I'm going to choose my branded colors. So there you've got it. And one other thing you might be noticing is, hey, where did his text go? What I can do, and this isn't true just in advanced topic editing, but throughout any presentation, is I can right click on the shape here and I can send it to back. And since I'm still in advanced topic editing mode for this topic, I'm only sending it to the back within the topic. So it's not behind everything, but within the topic cover, the shape is now behind the words. So now I can take my words here and I can start to edit my alignment. I can move it all to the left, for example. And now I can click away and I've got my new topic shape. Okay, so what I might want to do is, let's see how that looks. When I zoom in, it's not here on the inside, but I want it to be visible on the inside. So what I might want to do is come back out, right click on this guy, go to advanced topic editing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the shape here and I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to make it visible both inside and outside. So now when I zoom in, my green shape is still here. I've still got my shape. I can make it a little bit larger, a little bit smaller, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But for now, I've got my shape on the inside, and that's exactly what I was trying to do. I also want to put my text on the inside, so I'll go back into advanced topic editing. And I will right click on the text and I'll make that visible on the inside as well. So now when I zoom in, I don't lose my context at any point. It's an immediate seamless transition. My text is visible on the inside and the outside, and that's kind of how it looks. Okay, so I'll do that. I'll repeat that process again for these other 3 topics, but you might notice that when I zoom in, it zooms in a little bit far. What if I wanted this oval to be a little bit smaller? Well, you do that through advanced topic editing as well. So if I come back out, I can right click, go into advanced topic editing, and this box here represents your zoom area. So what you're zooming into when you do zoom into the topic. So you can see here, if I start to drag it, it gives me a little preview for where I would be zooming in. So you can see that the shape, the oval shape relative to my zoom area is getting smaller. So now I can kind of drag it around a little bit, something maybe more like this. And now you can see that when I zoom in, my oval's not going to take up my entire screen. So now when I zoom in, it's a little bit smaller here, and I can move these subtopics over. Okay. So before I change the topic cover for each of these, I can also change it for these subtopics here. So once again, I'm going to do advanced topic editing and inserting it right in. What I'm going to do is just a quick shortcut for me rather than continuing to insert it over and over. I'm going to open up my asset folder. I'm going to drag this guy right in here, and now all I have to do is I'm just going to copy and paste it a couple of times. So in this case, I'm just going to hit copy. And now when I go into advanced topic editing for each of these topics here, right click, advanced topic editing, I can just clear off all my stuff here, delete that, and I could paste it, Control V or Command V, right here into my topic cover. So I can make it whatever size I want here. And once again, I'm going to send it to back, right click, send to back. And now I just have to change my color. So I've still got my oval selected. I'm going to come up to my presets, and I'll go ahead and choose my gray color here. So pretty easy. And now what I might want to do is come over here and do the same thing for this guy. So right click, advanced topic editing, and we'll clear off that shape here, and we're going to insert my own. It would have made sense for me to just copy this gray shape instead of pasting the original again, but whatever, doesn't matter. I'll just right click, send this to the back. And now now what I'll do is set my style preset. There we go. And now I'll make sure that they're the same size. So I'll kind of put them into alignment in the top here. And now when I drag the bottom of this one, I know they're in alignment at the top. If I start dragging this one down, it's going to let me know by highlighting the other shape that they're the exact same size. So now I can change my text to match as well. So as I drag, there we go, same size. And I can kind of put these into alignment here. So I'll go ahead and put my text on the left, just like that. I'll shrink my box down, but I do want it to be kind of left aligned within its own text box. And I'll do the same for this one. There we go. So very simple to add in your own custom shape here. You'll notice once again when I zoom in, it's gone. I don't want it to be gone. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and make it visible inside and out. So I'm going to right click, advanced topic editing. And now you notice that there is a shortcut. On a Mac, you can hit Command E if you've got a topic selected. And if you're on a Windows, you can hit Control E. I'm just going to go ahead and go into advanced topic editing, and I'm going to right click just the shape this time and make it visible inside and out. Now I'm going to click my zoom area just to give myself a little bit more space on the inside and have my oval be a little bit smaller. There we go. And now when I zoom in, I've got my oval, and I could start adding my content here. That way, keep in mind the background will be removed, and you always want to leave enough space here on this side for your face to be present. So always keep that in mind when you're creating. Okay. So lastly, I might want to kind of modify how it looks when I zoom in. But first, let's go ahead and change the topic cover for these as well. So let's go ahead and do one more example, and then I'll probably just speed through. But here we go. Let's drag and drop this guy right back in here again because we're going to copy and paste again. Actually, let me delete this one first that we don't need anymore. There we go. And we're just going to click this one here. It's kind of here already. I'm going to copy that. And let's paste it right here into this subtopic. So I'm going to hit Command E to enter advanced topic editing for this topic. I'm going to clear off that shape that I don't need, and I'm going to insert my own. So I'll just go ahead and resize it accordingly. I'll resize it after. For now, I'll just make it my color. There we go. And I'm going to send it to the back. There we go. And now I'm also going to make it visible inside and out. So let's make that visible inside and outside. Okay. So that one is a little bit tricky because you might have remembered that was a stack. So I'll probably end up changing that a little bit and making it not visible inside and out. It's really up to me. If we decide to change that in a second, then we can change that in a second. But one thing I'll also do is go ahead and change my zoom area for this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one really, really small, and we'll see why in just a second, but we're going to zoom all the way into this one here. Okay? And I'm actually going to make it not visible on the inside. So very easy, right click, and let's make it visible outside only. Okay? So for the rest of these, I'll probably just speed through here real quick. So give me just a second to modify each of these as well. There we go. So we've got our 4 shapes. They are, of course, in no way equal yet, but we're about to make them equal. So let's go with this size here. I'm going to put them all in alignment with that one. So maybe move this one over for now. And we're just going to kind of put them all. I'm going to hold shift, and I'm going to put them all in alignment along the bottom. So align bottom. And now I can easily resize them all individually to match my one on my right. So if I drag it down, there you go. You can see it's in alignment. Same thing here. Can drop that one into alignment, and I'm just kind of dropping each of these into alignment. Last one here. There we go. Now they are all equal size. Now all I have to do is put them equal distance. So hold shift. Let's select them all. Come up to my align button, and let's distribute them horizontally. There we go. And now if I wanted to resize them even further, I have that option, or I can move them over a little bit more. I have that option as well. I'll probably just make them a little bit smaller. So there we go. And now I can really fix my text here. So I'll go ahead and come over to our product. There we go. Come over to my stats and figures, same thing. And I'll align that text to the left. And now we've added our topics. I could clear this guy off here. And now I can start to customize this a little bit further. So let's go ahead and change how we zoom into our stack topics. So currently, when I zoom in, there's nothing here. It's just this background. Now I might want to change that a little bit. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my shape right here. You remember the shape we've been working on? I still had it on my clipboard. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And we're going to kind of make this be our background. Okay, so I'm just going to add this in here, make it nice and large, just kind of come down to the bottom right about here. There we go. And that's exactly how I want it to look when I zoom in. So you could see I zoom in and I've got my white shape there. Okay, so pretty easy. I zoom all the way in, and then that way it comes in and there's the white shape on top. I'm going to do the exact same thing for our product over here. So I'm going to zoom into our product. I'm just going to drop this guy right in here. I could have pasted it again, and I'm just going to move it to the corner, and I'll just start resizing it. So make it nice and large here, coming down all the way to the end. And this time I'll give myself a little bit more space to work with for my face. And there we go. So for my last two, what I might want to do is I could change quite a bit more. So let's figure out what we want to do next. Okay, so let's make sure we have our topics and subtopics organized the way we want. So I zoom in here. I want to make sure that this is visible inside and outside. It is. When I zoom into this one, there's nothing. So what I might want to do for this one is I can go inside it and I'll add my same white shape on the inside. I want to create an effect where when I zoom into this, it looks like this is actually changing colors. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm actually going to zoom in here and I'm going to insert my shape once again. And I'm just going to make this guy huge. So let's just make it really, really, really big. There we go. And I'm just going to keep making it larger. There we go. So that it fills up my whole screen here. I'm just making it bigger and bigger and bigger. There we go. That way it's covering my entire canvas here. Okay. So nice and large. I could even hit Control A if I wanted to zoom out a little bit and get some context of how large it is. I'm even going to make it larger. There we go. Something like that. So now when I zoom out, you can see that if I go into advanced topic editing for this topic and I move my zoom area around, which I'm going to shrink it down, I'm going to shrink it down so that white matches the gray. So you can see as I click and drag, it's kind of getting close there. There we go. It's actually pretty good already and probably even good enough. So now you'll see when I zoom in, kind of looks like the gray changes color to the white. We're going to fill out our content later, but it's kind of a neat effect for zooming in. Okay, so lastly, all we need to do is go to this one here, and you can see that it's not currently visible on the inside, but we're going to change that. Let's right click, Advanced Topic Editing, and let's make this guy visible both inside and out. And let's do the same for the text. Right click, visible inside and out. Now, what I can do is I'm going to want to go in here, and I need to make each of these be gray. So once again, I'll go ahead and I'll drop my make sure my graphic's right here. So I'm going to copy and paste it, which I still had it on my clipboard, but I'll go into advanced topic editing for this topic here. I'm clearing off all of my content. I'm also clearing off my text. So I'm going to go ahead and paste my graphic right in here. And I'll just go ahead and make it gray. So go to my style preset and make it gray. So since I have I'm going to make the three of these all be equal, copy and paste is your best friend in Prezi. I'm actually going to clear off these other two topics here, these other two subtopics, delete, and I'm just going to copy this one, right click, copy, and I'm just going to paste it twice. I've got my same one, they're going to be the same size. I'm going to go ahead and resize them all and kind of just place them wherever I might want. There we go. And I'm actually going to change how I zoom into this one here. So I'm going to right click, advanced topic editing, and I'm just going to make that circle be a little bit, or that oval be a little bit larger when I zoom in. Maybe something just like this. Okay, so now I zoom in and I can place these wherever I want. Something just like this. Okay, and I'll go ahead and add in some icons for this later, but for now, looking pretty good. So making sure everything's built out and we can start to add our content. And it looks like it's just about ready to go. So let's go ahead and move on to the next section of adding in content. So let's go ahead and start filling out our template here with some content. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom into our first topic here. And let's zoom all the way into top carrier issues. So when I zoom in here, so far I don't have anything. So let's go ahead and start adding some content. First up, I'm going to go ahead and add on our title here. So if I click insert a text box, we'll just go ahead and type in top carrier issues. There we go. And I'll just put this all on one line. So I can have this cross over these lines here. There's a good amount of contrast. It's not going to be too huge of a deal. I'll go ahead and make it bold. And there we go. So now I'm going to add another text box here describing the three issues. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a new text box, insert text box. And now in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make it nice and small and kind of expand outward a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to start to add on my content. So I'm going to type in one poor visibility. Okay, so here's my first carrier issue. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hit enter and I'm going to add on my second line. So I'm going to type in compliance is less than 10%. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to kind of change how this looks here. So I'm going to highlight just the text here and I'm going to change the color and I'm going to make it bold and I'm going to make it a little bit larger. So first up, let's resize it a little bit. So I'm just going to click the plus increase the text size button here just a couple of times. There we go. As many times as I want, really. I'm going to change the color. So let's go ahead and go with our light green. And I'm also going to make it bold. Okay, so it's looking pretty good there. Now I might want to go ahead and hit the space bar here once just to kind of get it into a little bit better alignment. Right about here is good. So there's our first one. Now we've got two more points to make. It would be a lot easier for me to just use copy and paste. Copy and paste is absolutely your best friend in Prezi. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the previous two lines here. Rather than trying to recreate this two more times, I'm going to hit copy. And now I'm going to go down two lines and I'm going to just paste it. So now I'm just going to change my text. I'm going to even go down one more time, paste it again. And now I'm just going to go ahead and edit these. So this one will be called carrier adoption. And then the text here is going to be a little bit different. So now I'm just going to type in my new text of 97% of qualified carriers fall into one load wonders. There we go. And if I want to, I could go ahead and stretch this out a little bit more. Let's put that on one line. And then my last one here, I'll just go ahead and type in my last carrier issue. Okay, so very easy. I just entered in all of my text by copy and pasting. You can see how that's much more efficient, and I can resize this even more if I wanted to. So now I'm going to add on a quick graphic here. Again, I'm just going to drag and drop it right in. So I'm going to come over here to my folder, for my asset folder, and I'm just going to drag this guy right into the presentation. So I can resize it a little bit if I want to. And now I'm just going to go ahead and put in one more text box on the inside of this. So let's go ahead and add a new text box. There we go. And I'm just going to type in the text here, covering loads is expensive. And I'll shrink this down a little bit. Oops, did not mean to do that way. Let's shrink it down this way a little bit. There we go. And now if I wanted to, I'll probably go ahead and put this on a new line here, just like this. And what I might do is kind of center this text. So I'll put it right in the middle there, and let's go ahead and center that. Now it's right in the middle. There we go. And I'm going to put on my 3 points here. So I'm going to put a text box for a 1, a 2, and a 3. And once again, copy and paste is going to be our best friend. So I'm going to put in the number 1, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to make it bold. And now I'm just going to get this right into position right about here. There we go. And I'm going to copy that and just paste it. So paste 1, and then we'll paste in our other one down here. Okay, so nothing too crazy here. And for this guy and this guy, I'm going to put them into alignment. So let's align them right through the middle. Now they're going to be in the same spots here. I can move them over a little bit. There we go, right about there. And then this guy, I'm just going to put right in the middle. So let's change the numbers here. Let's make that a 3, and let's make this a 2. Okay, so they're all the same size because they've all been copy and pasted from each other. And now we have our numbers in. Okay, so that's it for this one. I might want to go ahead and throw on our logo here, so I could do that again. And this is where maybe an introduction to the library might be useful. So we've got our library up here. It's very useful for if you want to save things to your Prezi account. If you're going to be using something often, then it makes a lot of sense for you to put objects into your library. So this logo, for example, if I right click it, I can click add to my library. So now, if I come up to my library at any point in my presentation, so for example, we were here, I can come to my library, insert my library, and I have all kinds of different things that I've saved here. And this is going to stay in your library no matter what presentation you're in. So I could just drag and drop my logo here right into my presentation, and I'll just go ahead and resize this, make it nice and small, and drop it right into the corner. So definitely utilize the library for kind of shortcut purposes. You can save anything to your library. You can save topics, shapes, icons, pictures, videos, anything you can think of. Okay. So let's jump into our other subtopic here of latest trends. And you're going to notice when we go in, it's all the way just white. So I'm going to insert a new text box. Let's give ourselves a title. And you can see it's defaulting to that white for now. We'll just change it to our dark gray. So let's type in latest trends. There we go. And I might want to put this wherever I want, but I'll go ahead and bold it. There we go. And now I'm going to start adding in my actual content. So I'm going to come over to my asset folder, and we're going to bring in some icons here. Okay, so I'm going to bring in this one here for latest trends. And while that's loading, I'm going to bring in this one for latest trends. And then I've got one with my computer here, also for latest trends. And you can see I'm not really giving them any rhyme or reason to any of these for now. I'm really just kind of dropping them all into place. And now I'll go ahead and start resizing them. So I'll hold shift. I'm going to resize all of them together. There we go. Maybe something just like this. And now I can go ahead and move them around. So I'll move this guy over here, this guy over here. There we go. And then I'll just move these guys up or down. So maybe more like this. Okay. So now what I might want to do is add a couple of text boxes here beneath each of these. So I'll kind of skip through this so that you can just watch quickly as I do these. Okay, so now that I've got all my text and my graphics, what I can go ahead and do is start to kind of place them in order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to align all of these through the middle. So I'm just going to drag and select, and let's just align them right in the middle with each other. There we go. Those are in perfect alignment. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to group this guy and this guy over here and put these in alignment, just like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this box, and I'm going to group them as well. Or not group them, I'm just putting them into alignment just through the middle here, just like that. And now, actually, let's go through the top for these, makes more sense. And then we'll just move these up right into place. So now what I can do is put these in alignment, just very quickly going through, there we go, and put these in alignment. So now everything is in perfect alignment with each other, okay? So now what I can do is I can go ahead and change the color of these particular icons. So if I choose one, I can go ahead and go to my style presets and add a color to it. Actually, that's a little bit dark. We'll even go with the lighter green for these. There we go. There we go. And there we go. I could have selected them all. This is just as easy. And now we've got our colors applied, and we can add on a little shape here if we wanted to, or like a little line to split it. So if I want to come up and insert a shape, very useful tool. So if I add a shape in, it's also very useful for Prezi Video because you can actually make this shape be transparent, which is very useful for content on screen. So you can see here that I'm making it transparent. In this case, I'm actually going to apply a gradient to it, a linear gradient. So you can see here that I've got my gradient box, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little rotation, holding the Command button on a Windows, or Control and Alt on Command on a Mac, or Control and Alt on a Windows. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shrink it down. So I'm just going to drag it here just like this, and I've got my green color, which is fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to drag this guy all the way across, and it's going to look like a really thin, long line. So I'm going to make it even skinnier. Maybe something just like this. I could zoom in more and make it even skinnier if I wanted to. So if I select it, I could zoom in. I could grab the lines here and make it even more narrow. There we go. And now I've got my line here with the nice gradient. Okay. So we'll come back here in a minute and add some animations to this. But for now, let's go ahead and throw on our green logo here, which makes a little bit more sense on our white background. So I'll just drag and drop this guy right in here. And we'll just kind of shrink this down and put it right here in the corner. Okay. So let's go ahead and come out of here. And let's go into our next main topic and start adding content to that one. All right, so let's jump into improving user experience, and let's start adding our content on here. I'm going to come up and add a text box once again, and I'm going to make this one be gray, and I'm also going to make it be bold. So let's type in improving user experience with, there we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this guy right here. Now what I recommend doing, so we've got a planet topic, right? What I recommend doing, and what's really useful, is to copy and paste one page before making your next one. So, finish copying or finish creating your first page and then just copy and pasting to add multiple pages. So here, I'm going to add yet another text box. So I'm going to make this a little bit larger. Let's just go really big with it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another text box. So I can actually close my shape window here. Let's add another text box here, make it gray, and let's just type in our smart capacity platform. Okay, so now I'll drag this out a little bit and I'll make this a little bit smaller, but I'm going to put that right about here. I'll even make this bold but kind of smaller. So now I'm going to bring in my icon real quick. So let's come over here to my icons, and it's going to be my one with my little computer screen here. So I'll just drag and drop it right into my presentation. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and drop this right about here. Doesn't really matter where. I'm just going to put it right here, and I'm going to give it a color. So now what I can do, I'll go with the lighter green. I'll go with the dark green. So now what I can do, and what I recommend doing, is to actually copy and paste this first page and then start editing the future pages. So what I can do is I can come right here, right click and copy. And now if I hit paste, I've got two pages that right now are exactly the same. And I could even do it one more time, but I'm just going to copy the second page for that one. And in this case, I'm going to type in something a little bit different. So I'm going to add in the word includes here, includes. And now I'm going to add on a different graphic for this particular page. So I'm going to delete this guy, or even better, I'll replace this guy for a different image. So I'll come over here to my training assets. I'll come to my icons, and I'm going to put on my little Wayfair icon. So there we go, right in its place. It's already got the color, and just to make sure it is indeed green. This is kind of why I like going with the lighter green. I can't really see the dark green, but now I'm going to add even another text box here. There we go. Make it gray so I can see it. There we go. And I'm just going to write in app-based GPS tracking. Okay, so I'm going to shrink this down a little bit, and I might even make it a little bit smaller here. There we go. And then even make this also bold, just to make it a little bit easier to see. And I'm going to put it right in alignment with my little logo there. And let's make that bold. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this particular page and create a new one that's following exactly like it. I'm actually going to delete the title here. I don't need this one for page 2 and page 3. So I'm going to right click, copy, and let's just paste it right here. So now page 3 here, I'm going to swap out this icon. Let's replace. Let's swap it out with our freight truck here with the check mark. There we go. And I'm going to just change my text here. So I'm just going to type in digital freight. Well, I don't need to capitalize it. Freight matching. Okay, and then I'll drag and drop this right into the middle there. There we go. And now I have one more page to add. So I'll just go ahead and I could do a number of things here. I can add a page if I want to. I'm not going to, because what I'm actually going to do is let's copy and paste this last one. Copy, paste. I just hit Control C, Control V. And for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to clear off all of this, and we're going to make this guy, this white shape here, we're going to make this a lot larger. So let's just make it real big. I just want basically a blank white page here. So I'm going to drag this guy down, make it really, really big, and then put this, let's go even bigger. And then we're just going to put this right in the middle. Okay, so just like that. Pretty straightforward. And now I'm going to start to add my content to it. So let's add on our title frame here, so text box. And let's just add on let's change our text color here, make it nice and gray. The solution, and let's start adding some content. So once again, I'm just going to add on a bunch of shapes and a bunch of text here. And while I do this, we'll go ahead and speed through it. Now I'm going to insert a couple of arrows here, just a couple of shapes into my presentation. There we go. Now a couple of short ones as well, and I'll finish out this particular page here. There we go. So now we've added all of our shapes here, all of our text, and now I'm just going to grab that line that we added before, and I'm going to add it again. So I'm going to go and find it. I believe it's in our first topic here, and it should be right here. So I'm just going to grab this guy, and I'm going to copy and paste it. So I hit Control C. Let's come back over to our last page here, and let's paste that guy right in there. So we've got our green line, and it's looking pretty good to go. I'm going to drag my logo back in here, which I should have just added it to my library. But if I come back right here to my logos, I've got my green logo. Okay. There we go, and I'll just drag and drop this guy right about there. And there's my logo. So I'll come back out here, and let's start with our next topic. So I'm going to jump into our product here. And let's just start adding in some content. So once again, I'm going to add in a text box, and I'm going to call it Expert Cars App. And I'm going to go ahead and put that all on one line here. And let's make it bold, and let's make it gray. There we go. And now I'm just going to drop it into place up here somewhere that makes sense. And now I'm going to start adding some content. I'm going to add on a quick graphic here. And I'm also going to add on a couple of sort of bulleted lists. So I'm going to just quickly bring in my photo here that I know I'm going to use. So I've got a picture of my mock-up here, and I'm going to drag and drop this guy right in here. And I'll make this, reasonably large, right about here. And I'll start to add in my text boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and click Insert. And now, once again, I'm just going to go ahead and do all of my text boxes. And there we go. Now I'll just drag all of these guys, put them into alignment on the left here. There we go. They're all in perfect alignment. I'll even distribute vertically. There we go. And now what I might want to do is add on a little graphic down here, a little banner. Because keep in mind, the person will be on video, the face will be here. You could use the lower thirds here to add additional content. So I'm going to add another one of those shapes. Insert shape, and I'm just going to start with the green by default. And let's go ahead and make that a gradient as well. So I'm going to come to fill color and make that a gradient. And now I'm going to give it a nice rotation here. And let's just kind of put it up against the wall here to make sure that we're rotating it perfectly so that it's perfectly parallel with the presentation. There we go. And now I'm just going to kind of shrink it down a little bit. And let's just drop this guy right here, and we're just going to drag it out. Just drag it across just like that. And now I want to make sure that this is actually behind my other content, so I'm going to right click and send it back. Okay, so now I can bring this down a little bit further, and I can add on additional text here. So I'm going to bring in my logo from my library. So let's bring on my white logo here. It's going to be pretty big probably. There we go. Shrink that guy down. Drop it right about here. And I'm just going to add in one more text box right here just to add in additional information. And there we go. So we've got our little banner there, and now we can go ahead and add on our second page if we'd like. And our second page is going to look very similar. So you remember the copy and paste rule. So let's go ahead and just copy this guy. We're going to right click and click copy, and we're just going to paste it. So now we've got a second page, which right now looks very similar. And all we're going to do is we're going to change a couple of things here. So I'm going to change the name of this one to tracking. And I'm going to leave it in the same spot so that when we transition from page 1, this is basically the same spot. And I'm going to sub out this picture with our other photo. So I'm going to go to replace, and I'm going to come over here to my photos, and let's go ahead and just put in the second mockup we've got. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and edit my text here. I'm going to clear off this shape. I don't actually need it. I don't have additional information to add, so let's clear that off. And let me just go ahead and enter in my text here. So I'm going to clear this off, and I'm just going to add in a new text box. There we go. So we've got our text here to match, and this topic is just about done. So I can scroll back out, and we're back out to our overview. Finally, to finish up, we'll go into our stats and figures here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into advanced topic editing for each of these 3 subtopics here, and I'm just going to insert an icon into each of them. So if I come here to right click advanced topic editing, I'm going to insert an icon, but I'm going to do that through a photo. So I'm going to insert an image, and I've got my own here. So upload image. And I can come here to my icons here, and I'm going to just bring in my own. So there we go. Whoops, these are PDFs. So once again, make sure you insert it as a PDF if you've got a PDF saved. So I'm going to go ahead and come to my icons, and I'm going to bring in my magnifying glass. There we go. And I'll go ahead and make this one white, just like that. Bring it to the front here, make sure it's white, and then I'm also going to make sure that it's fully saturated, just like that. I'll maybe make it a little bit smaller. There we go. Now I'll come to this one, and I'll add another one. So Control E to go into advanced topic editing, and let's insert that PDF. So now we've got our 3 icons here on our 3 subtopics, and we can start to build these out as well. So this particular one, I'm going to make sure to right click, and I'm going to make this be visible inside and out, just like this. And now what I want to do is I want to zoom in kind of to the bottom right of this particular one. So I'm going to zoom in kind of over here, just like this. And I'm also going to make sure my shape is visible inside and out. You can see it's currently not, so let's change that. Right click, advanced topic editing, grab the shape here, visible inside and outside. Now I just have to make sure that my icon is indeed still here. So something weird is going on. That's okay. That's why we troubleshoot on a video like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, advanced topic editing, and I'm just going to make sure all parts of it are visible inside and outside. So let's make the shape visible inside and outside. There we go. And let's also go ahead and do that for this object as well. Just like that. There we go. So do the shape first. Now when I zoom in, they're both present. So what I'm going to do is right click, advanced topic editing, and let's just go ahead and move that zoom area to the right. Just about here. Okay, so now I'll come in here, I'll zoom into my topic, and I'll start adding some information. So I don't want to be able to see this, so I'm going to change my zoom area once again real quick. So advanced topic editing, let's kind of shrink this down or move it up a little. And we'll shrink it down. And we'll do both. There we go. So now I can zoom into my topic. I can add a text box here, which I'll do. Go ahead and type in a large percentage number here, 289%. There we go. And then I'm going to make this really, really big, just like that. And I'll even make it bold. And let's make sure it's all one line here. There we go. And I'm going to add one more text box underneath it, just to put in some information. There we go, and now I'm actually going to insert another little subtopic here, and I'm going to make that subtopic be an arrow. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my arrow first. So we'll just bring in my shapes here, and I'm just going to choose one of these. I'll go ahead and choose the, actually, you know what? I'll pull one from my library. I made a different one that I don't have on my computer, so I'll come over here to my library, and I'm going to bring in the white arrow here. So here we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn this into a topic. So let's add a new subtopic here. Right now it's kind of just a blank one. And I'm actually going to take this guy, copy it, and I'm going to paste it right here into this topic. So let's go into here. Let's remove everything from it. Delete and delete. There we go. And I'm going to paste this right here into my new subtopic. There we go. So now I can move this into position wherever I might want. I can delete off my old logo that I don't need. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to give this guy a little rotation here. Something just like this. And I'm going to put it right here next to my number. And if I click on that, or when I click next, it's going to zoom in. Careful with the rotation. So you notice that it actually rotated. I don't necessarily want that to happen. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it back to normal so that it's in its normal position, just like this. And what I'm going to do, so now you can see it doesn't rotate as it zooms in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate just the shape. So if I go back into advanced topic editing, I can rotate the shape itself, and I'm not rotating the zoom area. Okay, so now when I zoom in, it disappears. I want to go ahead and keep it. So I'm going to advanced topic editing, keep it visible inside and out. There we go. And I'm just going to give it just a slight zoom, just about how it is. Maybe I could even make this bigger, but I'll keep it just about there. And what I'm going to do is add some content on the inside. So I zoom in, and let's go ahead and just put in some numbers here. I'm going to clear everything off, and I'm going to add on another text box here saying 99%, just like that. We'll make it bigger, way bigger, make this one bold even. There we go. And I'm going to copy and paste this one and drag it down here, and this one we're just going to make 10%. So I might even want to have that zoom in a little bit less than this if I wanted to. Really up to me, but that's it for that topic. So now I'll come over here to my other subtopic, which is going to be a little bit simpler because I don't go another level deep. So all I have to do is put in my white arrow and add a percentage here. So once again, you can see that I'm not making it visible inside and out, but I'm going to right click, advanced topic editing, and let's make it visible inside and out. And let's change that zoom area. We'll make it nice and large here, just about like this. Okay. So now when I zoom in, I don't want any of that white over there, so let's keep that in mind. So let's come over here and get it just off our shape. There we go, just about like that. So now I zoom in, I'm going to bring in my white arrow again, just there, and then I'm going to add on my text box. So I'm going to add in a text box, and I'm going to say 20%. There we go, we'll make this bold. There we go, and now that's just about done. So that's about it for building out this actual presentation. So next up, we'll kind of finish out the final touches here, and then we'll go ahead and finish up this presentation. To finish up the presentation, let's go ahead and add animations to our template here. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom into my first topic here and come into my latest trends. Now here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some zoom areas to each of these little sections here. To do that, I'm going to come up to the Insert button and then click on Animation. This will allow me to view my animation pane over here, which I can then add animations to each part here. All I'm going to do is add just kind of a zoom area to each one of these sections. So I'm going to click the plus and add a zoom area. It's going to give me a quick preview as it puts it on. I'm just going to drag each of these into a place that makes sense. Maybe I'll make it a little bit larger here and kind of center it over my content right about there. Okay, and now I'm going to add another one, add zoom area. This one I'm going to put right over the top one here, make it a little bit larger. There we go, and maybe move it up a little right there. I'm going to add another zoom area. At this point, you should probably know how to add a zoom area. It's pretty straightforward. Just take it from where it places the default here, and I'm just going to drag it, make it a little bit bigger, drop it right in the middle there. And then I'm going to add one last one here to add a zoom area right to the bottom icon. And we could kind of just place that wherever we want here, make it a little bit larger, and put it right over the middle for that as well. So there we go. We've got our 4 zoom areas. Pretty easy to do. And now what that'll look like when we actually play the presentation, of course it'll be in video, but if I want to present what it looks like, when I get to this part of the presentation, it'll go into latest trends, and it'll look just like this. Okay, you can see as it will pan over to the different zoom areas here. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and add some additional zoom areas and some additional animations to a different part of the presentation. So we're going to come into our next topic here, and we're going to go straight to the end where we've got all of these graphics here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a zoom area right here around my my first section here. So I'm going to bring this guy a little closer, come up to my insert button, and just add an animation. Okay, so I'll click the plus and add a zoom area. Now I'll make this a little bit larger to incorporate all of this content right here, just about like that. And that's all I need to do. I'm going to add one more, add a zoom area, and I'm going to put it right over the middle section with the cars. So right about here. There we go. Maybe a little bigger. Just bring in the whole arrow there. Maybe even a little bigger. There we go. And now I'm going to add one more for this section over here. So one more zoom area. There we go. Place it on, and now I'm just going to drag this guy all the way to the corner down here, just about here, right about there. Maybe move it over a little bit. And now I've got my 3 zoom areas. But after my last zoom area, what I want to do, I'll be zoomed in right here. I want to actually zoom back out to this whole page here. So I'm going to add one more animation to zoom out to page. Okay, just like that. So after that last one, it's going to zoom right back out to this view here. Okay, so pretty easy to add in some fade animations and some zoom animations. I haven't added the fade just yet, but let's go ahead and jump into our next topic and add our fade animations. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade in each of these elements individually. So first I'm going to fade in my phone, and then I'm going to fade in each of my bullet points individually. So I'll start by clicking on my phone, and what I'll do now is I'll click my plus and add a fade in animation. It'll look just like that. Now I'm going to do the same for each of these text boxes. So I'm going to click this one, add the plus, and fade it in. Do the next one here, click the plus, fade it in. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to fade in my green bar down here, my banner, with all of my text together. So I'm going to hold shift. I'm just going to select all these guys at once and go ahead and fade them all in together. Just like that. So that's it. Now all my animations are set. So if I wanted to zoom out one level, just so we can see what it looks like, I'll go into presentation mode. And when I go to our product here, I can go through this. Every time I hit the next arrow, it's going to fade in more content. There you can see I'm hitting next, 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 one more time. There we go. And then that's it for the animations. And then I've got my other page here, and it's pretty straightforward. So that's just about it with the content creation. There's of course, a ton of nuances here in the Prezi editor. There might be a ton more things that you'll find and you'll discover when it comes to making transparent shapes and even more stuff in advanced topic editing. There's a ton you can do. The best you can do is play around in the Prezi editor and play around with shapes. If you have an idea of, if you're wondering if you can do something, you probably can. And if you can't, then you should really try to find out how. We've got this help button down here that'll be really helpful for you if you need to look up something in particular. But now that I'm done with my actual creation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out of this and I'm going to just pull it up on video real quick, see how it looks. So put myself on camera. There we go. And now I'm just going to kind of click through a little bit, see how everything looks, make sure nothing's covering my face. There we go, depending on where I might want to be. So I can jump into my topics here, looking okay. And then this is kind of just to preview it before you send it out. So maybe you intended for this one to zoom in all the way. You're not supposed to be on camera for here. You're going to zoom around, show some content. But otherwise, all these topics are looking pretty good. Okay, maybe this one, it's up to you. Maybe you want to move it over a little bit, unless you intend the person to be all the way on the side, which in a lot of cases, maybe they will be. So you have the option to kind of shrink this down a little bit if it makes more sense. In this case, I would want to do it for each of the pages. So coming back out to our third topic here, this looks good to go. I've got my lower thirds down here. I've got my content that'll fade in over here. Coming back out, got our last topic here. And some of these will intentionally cover the face as we zoom in to reveal the content. We've got a topic here as well. Okay, looks pretty good. And that's just about it. So we're going to finish up with one last quick section, just giving a brief overview of Prezi design, and then you'll be good to head into the last training, which will cover things like structure, colors, and things like that, kind of how to make a presentation look good, and then you'll have your project. So after this video, you're gonna roll into the next one on Prezi design, and that'll be it for the Advanced Create training, and you'll have a really good understanding of the editor, and you should be pretty prepared to go and start creating your own templates for your clients. finish up this training by quickly introducing you to Prezi Design, which has some things that might help you spice up your Prezi video templates. You can find Prezi Design by coming to the Designs tab right here. And now, I've only got one Prezi Design, which you can see I actually made my mind map for that Expert Cars presentation. I actually made my mind map for that right here in Prezi Design. I could pull that up real quick, pull that up in the editor to show you what it looks like. And here you can see I created the whole mind map right here within our Prezi Design canvas. Now, this isn't really what it's for, but you can certainly use it this way. So coming back over to Prezi Design, if I click Start from Template, you can see that I've got a lot of different types of projects I can choose. Prezi Design is primarily an infographic tool. You can create infographics, you can create reports or slides or dashboards, all kinds of different stuff. But how you might use it to make Prezi video is you might just want to go ahead and open up a blank canvas. And when you have your blank canvas open, you can just throw things onto the canvas and use it for whatever purpose you might want. For example, one thing is that in Prezi Design, we have a massive icon library. So if I come over here to my add graphics, I could search my icons here and I can find so many more icons here than I can find in Prezi. So I could type in something like performance, for example, and I'll get all kinds of icons here that show up. So here you can see I've got gauges, I've got meters, I've got little charts, I've got all kinds of different stuff. Let's say I find one that I like and I want to bring this guy in here. I could click insert and you can see that I've got my graphic right here in the presentation, or I could find a different one, maybe this little gauge here. And of course I could change the color and maybe make it purple. And then what I can do is I can actually right click and I could export anything in Prezi Design. I can right click and export it as a PNG or a PDF vector image or a JPEG. Really useful to just go ahead and export different items in Prezi Design as an image, and then you can import it right into your Prezi presentation. Okay, so that's one way you might use Prezi Design, just for very easy, finding icons and things like that. Massive icon library. So I'm going to clear all this off. Another thing is that we offer a very, very simple solution for kind of cropping your photos into unique shapes. So if I come over here and I bring in a graphic, so let me clear this off and I'll just bring in any random graphic. So I'll go back to my images and let's just bring in a random one here. We'll bring in this computer. Let's bring in the desk. So if I bring this in, what I can do if I select my image is I've got my mask filter over here, which I can crop my photos into shapes. Okay, so if I can bring in a star, for example, or I can crop my photo into a heart. So or a circle, just a really simple way to do that. So I can make it into a circle here. Oops, grab the corner, just about there, and apply mask. So now, again, right click and I can export it as a PNG or a JPEG. Just very, very simple way to kind of crop your photos into unique shapes. Again, I can come over here to my mask button. Maybe I want to crop it into a heart or a star or any of these other interesting shapes here, and I can go ahead and make it a lot more interesting. So I'll go ahead and make it a star, and then I can click away and it's going to apply it as a star. And then once again, I can right click and export it as a PNG or a JPEG. Okay, so that's another way you might use Prezi Design just to easily make sort of photos and graphics. You could also adjust the transparency here, which you cannot do in the Prezi Next editor. Of course, you've got Photoshop or whatever else that you can very easily adjust transparency, but you know what? If you're already in Prezi Design with that photo, you might as well just go ahead and make it transparent here if you want to. Very useful trick especially for Prezi video to have semi-transparent photos, semi-transparent icons. Okay, so that's another way. I'm going to clear this off. Another way you might use it is for adding charts or graphs or maps. So really quick, I'll show you how you might want to add on a map. You've got all kinds of different maps here. They get very specific. I could type in random countries or cities or just pick one at random here. And you could see I could bring in Bolivia, for example, and it's going to break it down into different states. I can make it all one color if I want to, so I could use one color just for map purposes, and I can make it, my branding. I could enter a hex code here. We'll make it light blue, and what I'll also do is clear off my legend. So if I clear off my legend, I've just got my country here. I could right-click, export this as a PDF vector image or a PNG, and if I export it as a PDF, of course, when I bring it into Prezi, it'll be nice and clear no matter how far I zoom into this map. So maps might be another way that you want to use Prezi Design. I'll clear that guy off. And then lastly, we've got a ton of charts here in Prezi Design that you might want to use in a Prezi. So for example, as I scroll down, you can see that there are just a ton of charts. The ones that are most applicable to probably import into a Prezi video are going to be your pictorial charts, which look just like this, which of course you could edit all the data here. Not going to be hugely useful unless you actually have their data, so I'll clear this guy off. But if they do give you some data to use for that, then you might end up using a pictorial chart. Or another way, if I come to my chart button, is with a word cloud, so or even a gauge. So I'll bring in a word cloud, for example, and I can edit this and make it say whatever I want. I can make these be cities or all kinds of different things, people, locations, objects, things around the office, percentages, whatever I want to do. I can make the more important things be larger. And of course, I can export this as a PDF or a PNG. So a lot of really useful things that you might do in Prezi Design. This was just a very, very quick overview of Prezi Design. Of course, I could spend a full hour on this, but I'm not going to make you sit through that. I was kind of keeping it just to things that directly apply to Prezi Video. So again, that's just a quick overview of Prezi Design and how you might use it to help with your Prezi Video templates. And with that, we've covered all of Prezi, and you should have a pretty good understanding of how to use the editor to create Prezi Video templates. And if you combine that with your own design knowledge, you'll be able to create amazing templates in no time. So when you're ready, go ahead and head to the next section where we'll go over some best practices for designing with Prezi Video.